Today there is a lot to discuss about Mass Effect, but before that, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ariel, I am from Spain, without the S, and I have worked on Netflix The Witcher series as a lore consultant and community manager for Netflix Spain and Portugal. I studied film direction and screenwriting, and I have directed a couple of short films, book trailers, commercials, but nothing serious. I am a huge fan of fictional universes, and I'd say my favorites are obviously Mass Effect, The Witcher, and Star Wars. But today we are not here to talk about me. Today we are here to talk about Mass Effect. A few days ago on N7 Day, Amazon quietly announced that they will be producing a Mass Effect TV show. I mean, incredible news. But before diving into this announcement and everything we know so far, let's take a step back. The first attempt to adapt Mass Effect into live action was through a movie that was set to be produced by Legendary Pictures and Warner Bros. However, internal disputes between the two companies caused the project to face serious setbacks. So, on top of that, the producers started seeing a movie as a potential obstacle to adapting the original trilogy, because yes, the movie was supposed to tell Commander Shepard's history. This thing led to discussions about turning the project into a TV show, which started to get support from the producers, but in the end they couldn't find a way to make it work, so the project was cancelled. Yeah, very sad. But in 2021, we get the first hint of what we are talking about today, a Mass Effect TV show produced by Amazon Studios. At the time, it was reported that Amazon was negotiating with Electronic Arts to secure the adaptation right for the franchise. The news came from a reliable source like Deadline, which led many Mass Effect fans to believe that the TV show was close to becoming a real thing. I was one of them, to be honest. But on top of that, as some of you might remember, Henry Cavill posted a picture on his Instagram showing a partially blurred script, and this is the funny part, but it was revealed that the script included a description from the Mass Effect Wikipedia page. That was weird, but with the news of the negotiations and Cavill's small hint, everything seemed to be going well for the TV show to be officially confirmed. However, it wasn't until now, at the end of 2024, that it finally became official. Amazon Studios is developing a Mass Effect adaptation. Officially, we know that the showrunner for the series will be Daniel Casey, known for movies like Fast and Furious 9 and 10 Cloverfield Lane. It's weird, yeah. But alongside him, there are three other confirmed producers. The first one of these producers is Karim Threik, who is known for producing shows like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and The Punisher. The second one is Avi Arad, a pretty controversial figure. On one hand, he's behind amazing films like the Miles Morales animated saga, one of my personal favorites, but on the other, he's been involved in more weird projects like the Borderlands movie or Morbius. So yeah, that's weird. And last, but not least, we have Michael Gambol, the current game director for the next Mass Effect game and a veteran of the original trilogy. Aside from Michael Gambol, most of the people involved in the series have sparked doubt amongst fans, especially the showrunner, Daniel Casey, because, personally, I am a bit skeptical too, but I'd like to share some thoughts with you about this. In the incredible and complicated universe of films and TV, making a good movie or series depends on a lot of factors. Daniel Casey has worked as a writer and a filmmaker on different projects that got both good and bad reviews, and that is okay. But honestly, that doesn't tell us much about how the Mass Effect series will turn out. Like I said before, many things influence the final result. There are also writers who, after some bad projects, end up doing a good job. One great example is Craig Mazin. Who would have thought that the writer of The Hangover Part 2 and Part 3 would create something incredible as Chernobyl and The Last of Us? That's why, even though I am still cautious, because adapt Mass Effect is really hard. That's why I think we should be patient. stay open-minded, and give them a chance to prove themselves. When it comes to the series plot, we don't know anything yet. Personally, I am one of those who dream of seeing the original trilogy adapted. And hey, yeah, I understand why many people are against this idea. Because, I mean, Mass Effect is a game where you shape your own story through choices. All of these choices embodied by Shepard, a personalized avatar. So, it's our story, it's our Shepard. However, I see this as two separate things, because my experience with the games and the original trilogy will always be there. It's something personal that no one can take away from me, because it's my story, it's my Shepard. That's why, if they decide to adapt the game's story, I would view it more like a book adaptation or something like that, like, you know, an effort to bring a narrative from one medium to another, like, in this case, to the screen. And again, yeah, I get why some people are worried that a bad adaptation could harm the saga, because, I mean, yeah, it's really hard to make a good adaptation, but to me they are independent experiences. By the way, if you're interested in exploring this topic, I really recommend this video by Michael Tucker. And a little fun fact, he's currently working at BioWare on the script of the next Mass Effect game. But the point of the video and why I recommend the video is because Tucker explains why a Mass Effect series has the potential to be the next Game of Thrones as a phenomenon. So I really recommend you to take a look at it. That said, if we look at what Amazon did with Fallout, another tricky adaptation, they made a smart choice creating an original history. I'm not sure if they'll try to adapt Shepard's history, but since a new Mass Effect is also in the works, maybe this series could be a prequel to the game or something like that, I don't know. But now, let's talk about something important. Is it really possible to adapt Mass Effect in live action? I mean, in animation it would definitely be easier, and the result would probably be more consistent, but unfortunately some people still look down on animation. Even so, live action is still the most appealing format for many people because it's closer to our reality. I mean, it's literally it's our reality, yeah. And of course, I think that it's possible to make a good Mass Effect adaptation in live action. If Amazon is willing to take on the challenge of adapting Warhammer 40k, which also requires a massive technical effort, I don't see why they couldn't do the same with Mass Effect. It will be interesting to see what techniques they use to bring the aliens to life, like, that sounds so interesting. Like, each species present unique challenges. So, think about it, like how they are going to recreate the Azaris, how they are going to recreate a Krogan in live action. That sounds incredible and interesting, at least from my point of view. So, I'm confident that Amazon has the resources and budget to create realistic aliens and bring the Mass Effect galaxy to life in a convincing way, so yeah. And yeah, after this discussion, unfortunately there is not much more I can say for now. There are still a lot of things that we don't know, like the writers, directors, cinematographer, and of course, the casting. But it seems like we are still far from getting those details. For now, we just need to be patient. So I hope you liked the video, thanks for watching, and see you next time.